finally found a plushie, guys. I love these things so much. Anyway, welcome to round 3 here at the Midseason Showdown here in Santa Ana. For SoCal, we have Hayley Aldworth versus Jonathan. So Jonathan did win on the PC last week, and Hayley, you know her for some of her spicy boys that she's been using here. And you will see her team on the left here with that Gastrodon, Arcanine, Gyarados, Excadrill, Grimmsnarl actually, and Mudsdale. And on the right here, we've got Jonathan's with that Snorlax, Togekiss, Bronzong, Rhyperior, Conkeldurr, and oh my god, I'm so happy right now. That is a Chandelure. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on here. That Grimmsnarl, the Prankster Screens is a very, very well-loved strategy for you. You've got Reflect, and you've got the chance for Light Screen on here. On the right side, Chandelure's got Shadow Tag and Flash Fire are the two I'm going for right now. That is going to be a tough one because Chandelure has not seen any sort of like competitive action since, I want to say, 2014 is going to be the last time we've seen that. A lot of the Pokemon that I'm seeing here on Hayley's side, so again on that left side, Pokemon that are pretty standard here. We've got that Arcanine, we've got Gyarados, and we've got Excadrill. Gastrodon has been kind of up and down. I mean, when we saw the rise of like Dracovish being used on a lot of teams on ladder, Gastrodon answered that call with Storm Drain as its ability, and Mudsdale was pretty popular in the beginning for the Sun and Moon series, and kind of has taken sort of a backseat. Damna, kind of crazy in terms of every time you get hit, you raise your defense for like +6 at the end of you survive all these turns, so you kind of could see some sort of usage out of that here. I'm really hoping to see Chandelure here at some point, in all honesty, but Rhyperior and Bronzong, a combination that we've seen tried and true. You know that Trick Room's setup, and hopefully at some point the weakness policy being procced here. Grimmsnarl and Mudsdale actually going to be the choice lead here for Hayley. Grimmsnarl, again, Prankster, and the ability to set up both Light Screen and Reflect is going to be a very big thing to have here, as it does make sure that any damage that you take is a little bit lessened, especially when you pair it with Light Clay, will extend the turn of those screens from 5 to 8 turns. And Mudsdale, just kind of a scary Pokemon all around. It's got really high defenses, and it's a pretty scary attacker. We've seen things like High Horsepower from it before. And as a slow Pokemon, it'll really benefit from any sort of Trick Room being set up here. And Hayley is actually going to be going for the Dynamax here on turn 1. So her Pokemon, it's most likely just going to actually be that Mudsdale. So we go from a small force to a big force here. As Mudsdale is going to be able to go for max move. So most likely max Rockfall or max Quake, which is the ground head max move. And we actually also have another Dynamax. This one's going to be the Rhyperior. Rhyperior is usually just sort of that really kind of go-to Pokemon to Dynamax, right? You've got a lot of power for it, and once you have that extra HP, you're kind of free to try to go for the weakness policy, which is really nice to see, especially when you have Bronzong here. The problem here is when you have Bronzong, you've got ally switch games, right? As Grimmsnarl is going to have that ability to go for the Reflect here on turn 1 because of that Prankster ability. Again, gives it priority in this turn. But Max Knuckle instead no ally switch and no protect from any Pokemon here as Max Knuckle goes straight into that Bronzong. Really maybe thinking of seeing an ally switch potentially, but Max Knuckle is going to raise the attack of both Grimmsnarl and Mudsdale. Really important on that Mudsdale to make it a little bit scary, as Max Rockfall is going to be the choice here for that Rhyperior. He's going to go into that Grimmsnarl. Doesn't quite pick up a knockout on it, however, but does bring in a Sandstorm. Grimmsnarl is going to be able to go possibly for a Light Screen now, but that Gyro Ball sided into that Rhyperior is going to proc that weakness policy. So Jonathan's saying, hey, you know, I don't want to wait for someone to try to attack my Rhyperior. I'm just going to do it myself. And it's at the cost of little to no HP. We barely saw that HP bar move. So now that Rhyperior is at +2 attack and special attack. And we do know that Mudsdale is going first though, but Max Guard from Jonathan here is going to make sure that he doesn't take any extra damage, as Foul Play from Grimmsnarl goes into that Rhyperior is probably, that's going to hurt. Double down into that Rhyperior. We're hiding behind that Protect, so nothing there, as Trick Room is going to be set up here by Bronzong. So Hayley unable to stop that Trick Room, instead focusing all of her attack onto that Rhyperior. This is going to be a tough couple of turns for her because Rhyperior is at almost max HP, has a +2 to attack and special attack, and taking that turn to go after it is, I can understand, because not a lot of Pokemon actually hide behind a Max Guard when you're Dynamaxing, right? You only have 3 turns to make the most out of, and choosing a Protector is a little bit tough, but now we finally see that ally switch here from Jonathan. Gonna switch places with the Rhyperior, so, actually also a Swagger, but Rhyperior avoids the attack. That is a very, very slim chance of that happening, as Max Rockfall is going to go into that Grimmsnarl information the match here. Gonna easily pick up that knockout, not just because of that extra attack, but because of the fact that it was almost knocked out anyway. Levitate here into that Bronze Sub take and make sure it doesn't get hit by Max Quake. So Hayley, not reading that Alice Witch for this turn, tried her best in that first turn though. But Gastrodon is going to hit the skill here as Dynamax ends on both sides. We're going to see that Rhyperior edits Dynamax first because it is indicating that Rhyperior is faster thanks to the fact that we are in Trick Room. But Gastrodon actually not a bad Pokemon to have here. Gastrodon, generally a very slow Pokemon as well, and so at least going to be able to do some sort of damage onto Rhyperior. There's a lot of Gastrodon who've been running Muddy Water lately, so at least it will hit both targets as long as it can connect, and it can also get the accuracy drop, which is a very important thing, especially when some of the moves that you might run aren't exactly 100% accurate. So I think Hayley is still in it, and there we are. You see that Muddy Water here from that Gastrodon is going to be able to connect. But Pokemon here does super effective damage, so not quite enough to knock out, but does get an accuracy drop on Bronzong, and you kind of want to see that a little bit more on the Rhyperior, but fighting past into the Mudsdale in no stamina. Sorry, that's going to be an inner focus Mudsdale. That is my bad. As Levitate, make sure that this Bronzong does not get hit by Earthquake. However, is not going to be able to pick up the knockout on either of these Pokemon, and Hayley's going to be able to get to knock out that Rhyperior, which was the biggest threat for her on that field thanks to the fact that it had that weakness policy already activated, and Gastrodon going to take some time to recover a little bit of HP thanks to that item that it's holding, which is leftovers. Excuse me. So Jonathan's kind of heavy hitter here, knocked out, but Togekiss is going to take the place of his fallen comrade here. As now we are in Trick Room, and it's actually going to benefit Hayley a little bit more than it is Jonathan. Gastrodon and Mudsdale aren't exactly known for how fast they are, and she'll be able to take advantage of that. So we did see like Gastrodon went before Rhyperior, so it is going to go first again here, unless somehow we manage to make this Togekiss extremely slow, which generally doesn't happen because Togekiss is a fast Pokemon, right? You see it usually used a lot in leads because it's able to do that, and we do see this Gastrodon once again going first, goes for Muddy Water, connects both again, might get another accuracy drop. Ooh, gets another accuracy drop on Bronzong, puts it at -2 now. But Body Press again from Bronzong going into that Mudsdale, not quite picking up the knockout as Mudsdale goes for the double Rock Slide here, connects with both Pokemon, could get a possible flinch on the Togekiss here as Bronzong is now officially in the red, and Togekiss actually goes for the Yawn. And that is the strategy that I actually first saw with Sajin using in the Invitational. Togekiss at least able to inflict a status condition onto a Pokemon for later on. That Gastrodon is a very smart choice just because it's going to be around longer, has the HP recovery, and is a little bit more of a threat. Despite the fact that this is the last turn of Trick Room, Gastrodon is still at least able to provide some good support, and so the fact that you're going to try to put it to sleep here either forces Hayley to switch it out or to just take the sleep turns, and we do see her going for Muddy Water one more time. So 3 Muddy Waters in a row. We'll pick up a knockout here, but could get the accuracy drop on Togekiss instead. Bronzong knocked out for this turn, no accuracy drop here, but Togekiss is still going to go down thanks to the fact that Rock Slide is connecting. So Hayley able to kind of turn this around and force Jonathan down to his last Pokemon. So Hayley is going to have her Gastrodon be put to sleep this turn thanks to that Yawn from earlier. But she at least managed to pick out one knockout with that Bronzong, and then able to pick up that second knockout with Mudsdale's Rock Slide. So Jonathan's Trick Room actually ended up benefiting her in the end, and Snorlax is going to be the last Pokemon Jonathan sends out here. And Snorlax is also one of those Pokemon that functions very well in Trick Room, and to get the most use out of it is one of those things where you kind of want the Belly Drum and then the max attack with the HP recovery and the berry. And Jonathan actually already went for his Dynamax Pokemon, so a Gigantamax Snorlax isn't going to be able to be possible here, and we do know that from last week that's the Snorlax that he was running. Mudsdale is going to be faster than the Snorlax, so for any Trick Room potential, that Snorlax is going to go before Mudsdale. However, that 1 HP there is very nice, but the important thing here is that Gastrodon hasn't taken its sleep turn yet, which means that Snorlax went before the Gastrodon, so in any Trick Room scenario, if Jonathan's paying attention, that Gastrodon is still going to be faster than his Snorlax. The HP recovery is going to be very bothersome, and Snorlax did manage to get a little bit more HP, but Mudsdale is faster, and he didn't manage to knock it out on this turn, and Snorlax doesn't take a lot of damage, and it actually might have a chance. You can go for a Recycle, and then try to... nope, that's not happening. This power connects, and that is going to be game 1 going to Hayley, and that is Snorlax that is was knocked out after eating its berry. It woke up, ate some berries, and went back to sleep because it is back in its Pokeball being knocked out. So game 1 goes to Hayley there, and game 2, I think Jonathan's going to really have to consider if you can't use Trick Room as a strategy because of the fact that your opponent has Pokemon that work just as well in Trick Room as they do outside of it. How do you change your strategy? And I think if you're Hayley, the question now is, okay, if my opponent isn't going to set up Trick Room for me, then what should I do, right? The thing that you were seeing here in game 1 is that Jonathan was like, hey, I'm going to do my best to try to set this up. And Hayley just goes like, that's nice, but I have a Gastrodon in the back, and Gastrodon just absolutely like can just love and thrive in Trick Room. And so those Muddy Waters connecting, the accuracy drops weren't really necessary for Bronzong at least, but it was still kind of nice to be able to see that. I appreciate like trainers who are like, hey, I can side hit my Pokemon and activate their abilities, and sort of going for the Gyro Ball into the weakness policy for Rhyperior and making sure you guarantee that like turn 1 activation is also really nice. I think now if you're Jonathan, you have to kind of consider, how do I change things around a little, right? Like if you're looking at his team, Togekiss might have to be your lead because Snorlax and Rhyperior, which are two out of your 3 heavy hitters here, are both very slow Pokemon and would thrive better in Trick Room than they would under a Tailwind. Conkeldurr and Chandelure, I've only ever really seen run with Scarf, so it can be a fast Pokemon, but I don't think it's ever actually in a good position because all of Hayley's team can take down that Chandelure in a heartbeat. And I think if you're kind of forced into a hard Trick Room team, then there's not much you can do except try to just pick up knockouts. I think the most important thing is if you're Jonathan, you look at that Gastrodon and see it as the threat that it is, and you do your best to knock it out as soon as you can. And so that way, your Pokemon have their own way of being able to thrive in Trick Room. So we see a little bit of a change here from Jonathan as that Togekiss and Snorlax will be the lead of choice. And Hayley actually opting for the same lead as she did in game 1, that Grimmsnarl was able to have a couple of turns where it did its best to support, and the Reflect really helping make sure that any sort of physical attacks weren't doing as much damage to her Pokemon. And I think we might actually just see that same sort of turn 1 from Hayley in terms of we're going to set up the Reflect, and then right after that we're going to have the Dynamax Mudsdale, because Max Quake also likes to help with that. Max Quake also raises the defense, and when you've got Pokemon who are facing physical attackers, you want that defense stat up as much as possible, and we are going to see Hayley go for the Dynamax. And it is going to be that Mudsdale again. I don't think you'll ever have Grimmsnarl Dynamax if you're running something like Midseason Reflect, which is honestly the best thing for Grimmsnarl right now. And so Dynamax Mudsdale on the field here, as Jonathan is actually going to go for Follow Me, so going to draw the attention from Mudsdale's attacks into it, and Grimmsnarl going for the Reflect. So again, Reflect boosting her defenses against physical moves, as Max Steel Spike is going to attack into that Togekiss, which is going to reveal the Berry, and this is actually going to give Jonathan a chance to go for the belly drum strategy that he had tried last game due to the fact that Snorlax didn't really have a partner next to it to be able to take any sort of other attacks. Grimmsnarl and Mudsdale getting another defense boost here on top of the Reflect and make it a little bit harder to hit. So Belly Drum is going to be nice for Jonathan, but if he isn't able to stop something like those defenses from going up more and more, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Togekiss is going to be around for one more turn at least to try to go for another Follow Me, and we did see that the Berry was able to take off a lot of that damage, right? And we're still in the green with Togekiss. It might not be able to do so for another Max Steel Spike, but if you're a Mudsdale and you go for that Max Steel Spike, then you're totally okay with that because you get another couple defense stages, and +2 defense and Reflect make it so that Snorlax's damage won't be as much as it could have been, right? But Togekiss is actually going to get withdrawn on Jonathan's side. We're going to have Bronzong out on the field instead. Bronzong we know has that body press and has Trick Room. Now, instead of Rhyperior from game 1 that we saw as a Dynamax, we're going to see Gigantamax Snorlax. My best bet here. It's the event that we had running in Swing for a while. So Gigantamax Snorlax. G-Max Replenish is the important move here, as it does give you the chance to get your barrier back after you attack as well. And we are going to have Light Screen actually set up this turn, so Hayley also taking the time to be like, hey, maybe you have some special attackers, and I just got to be careful about that. As Max Steel Spike now going to go into what was that Togekiss is now that Bronzong, Doesn't do a lot of damage, but is at least able to get some sort of chip here and get another couple of defense stages. So again, that's +2 defense into Mudsdale and Grimmsnarl, and plus the reflex. So G-Max Replenish here is going to do still a lot of damage, not enough to knock it out though if it hadn't been there, and is able to actually find a berry. So that is very good luck for Jonathan. It is not 100% chance guaranteed that G-Max Replenish will find a berry. And Grimmsnarl is still able to at least go for another priority move here with the Prankster ability. And now the thing to watch out for is that Snorlax, as this is the last turn for Mudsdale to be out on the field, that foul play did a fantastic job here because of the fact that it uses its opponent's attacks out against it. And so we do have that Snorlax at half health. Did manage to, after that berry consumption, Max Knuckle able to go for the attack in there. However, not quite enough to knock it out. But the plus attack here is really nice for Mudsdale. Is going to be able to go for that later. G-Max Replenish has another chance to find a berry here. Is going to knock out that Grimmsnarl now, and I don't actually think it did find a berry on this round. It already did consume the berry it found from the previous one. Bronzong able to set up Trick Room. However, this does set up Hayley for a chance to bring in her Gastrodon in fantastic conditions. We saw it game 1 go after the Snorlax. So Gastrodon here is going to be able to go first in Trick Room conditions. We have another muddy water, and as long as it doesn't miss, that Snorlax might actually get knocked out, and an accuracy drop for Snorlax, if it doesn't get knocked out, would still be really good. So that's 2 turns of G-Max Replenish that we've had Snorlax use. So this Gigantamax turn will be its last turn. And so what's going to happen now is, I don't know if Jonathan realizes that the Gastrodon is going to be the first Pokemon remove, and if he's going to take this turn to go for another Protect. I don't know, we're going to go for an Ally Switch instead. Interesting choice there because Hayley does have access to Muddy Water as Bronzong and Snorlax switch. And there we go, that Muddy Water. Oh, no, it's going to be the one Pokemon she needed to hit there. Is going to avoid it as Bronzong takes the hit. G-Max Replenish one more time here, and Jonathan might be able to find that berry as Gastrodon absolutely gets demolished by that move, and it was actually her best chance, I want to say, there, but Mudsdale might be able to bring it back and goes for the Rock Slide. Does not get a flinch because it is the last Pokemon move on this turn. However, it is the last Dynamax turn here, and Gyarados is going to come in. If it isn't Intimidate Gyarados, yep, there we go. The Intimidate is going to make sure that Snorlax is going to be at +5 as opposed to +6. And this wouldn't have had to happen if that Gastrodon had hit the Muddy Water on Snorlax. However, Snorlax is still at pretty low HP, and Gyarados is in an okay-ish spot right now because you still have a couple more turns of Trick Room because it did just recently get set up, and Jonathan does have more Pokemon in the back. Facade going to connect with Gyarados, still at what number are we? A +5, my bad. Reflect is still in play despite Grimmsnarl fainting, and Durable is going to connect into that Gyarados as well. Doesn't do as much damage, however Hayley is free to go for both attacks here as long as, oh no, that Snorlax, for however big it is able to avoid another attack here. Bronzong does get hit, however Snorlax not getting hit, but it is the really, really rough part here. Cobra Berry, Bronzong being revealed as Crunch goes into that. Might get a defense drop. Yep, there we go. That Bronzong is just taking stat drops left and right as defense goes down 1 stage. This is really, I mean, you're stalling out a couple Trick Room turns. The problem now is that you are in a position to get hit again if you're Hayley, and the hard part is that Snorlax should have gone down 2 turns ago because of the fact that it has avoided these. You know, honestly, for a Pokemon like who is that thick, like that Pokemon is able to move fast to get out of the way as Facade is going to connect into that Gyarados. Finally manages to just to rub some more salt into the wound, manages to pick up that critical hit and the knockout. As Durable is going to go now into that Mudsdale. Does literally almost no damage here as Mudsdale goes for the Rock Slide. Finally connects with the Snorlax and the Bronzong. Doesn't quite pick up the knockout on the Bronzong, but does finally knock out that Snorlax on the last turn too. However, Jonathan still has 3 out of his 4 Pokemon, where Hayley is down to her only Pokemon left. That Mudsdale has to worry about just kind of has to worry about everything else that's in the back. I mean, you've got the Follow Me. I mean, Rock Slide is a really nice spread move to use here. And Togekiss is going to go last because of the fact that it is going to be the fastest Pokemon here. Mudsdale, despite being faster than Bronzong outside of Trick Room, is not going to outspeed Togekiss. And whatever Jonathan has in the back might, if it's that Rhyperior, he might be in a little bit of trouble. It is actually going to be, yep, there's that Rhyperior that we see. Rhyperior, which we know has the weakness policy. Body Press is going to go into that Mudsdale, and not as much damage here. However, we have Rock Slide coming in. Jonathan switching out that Togekiss right as Trick Room does expire. So Togekiss is going to be in a very nice spot. And the Twisted Dimensions are returning to normal, so Trick Room is expiring. Togekiss comes in at a perfect time to take advantage of that speed. Togekiss is going to be a little bit faster now than everything else. Again, Mudsdale and Rhyperior are not fast Pokemon. They don't even look, well, Mudsdale could look like a fast Pokemon because it is a horse, and horses should generally go fast, right? But Togekiss is still going to be the faster Pokemon on the field here. Hayley might actually still have a chance. And I take that back, as Yawn is going to connect to that Mudsdale. It is going to be sleeping for a couple of turns. The choice here now, you're going to have to knock out. Oh, man, that is really rough for Hayley, because that is like 3 rock slides that have been avoided. And you really wanted to hit that Togekiss, as Rhyperior is going to have Swords Dance instead, so it is still going to be at +2 here. Oh my gosh, that is... And right when Reflect wears off, so actually this Mudsdale is kind of a goner, I'm going to say. That is not something you really want to see, as Air Slash is going to connect here, has a chance to flinch Mudsdale. Oh yeah, and there we go. That is just on top of everything else, and Jonathan just going for the +4, and that's just waiting for the chance to like Mudsdale to go to sleep. We'll have to take a couple sleep turns as well. This is I don't really see a way for Hayley to actually get out of this, as that is just a lot of bad RNG is kind of going against you. There's Dazzling Gleam does connect here. Mudsdale takes its necessary sleep turn right now, and Rhyperior is going to go for a... That is just cheeky. That is a +6 Rhyperior without any weakness policy. That is... if I saw it, I'd just be like, you know, now there's just no reason to do that at this point. I mean, you want to guarantee knockouts, sure, but if Mudsdale manages to wake up on this turn and go for a crit superpower, you might actually be in trouble if you're Jonathan. But Mudsdale wakes up, goes for the rock slide. If you can get the flinch here on the Rhyperior, I will actually be fantastically amazed. Togekiss is going to still be around here. Togekiss, nope, manages to go for Earthquake at +6. Is just going to do a massive amount of damage into that Mudsdale. Not going to matter as much again because Mudsdale was at 50 HP. So Mudsdale does faint on this turn. Giving game 2 to Jonathan, and that was a kind of a great comeback for him, right? He was managed to figure out exactly how to use his team to his advantage in this round where, hey, you know, I don't have to set up Trick Room yet, but I can get rid of some of the things here. I think what I love about Hayley's team and her strategy is she's continually raising her defenses. The only hard part about raising your defense when using Max Steel Spike is any Pokemon that faint on that turn don't get the benefit of the defenses like they would behind the Reflect, or like in terms, like let's say like you're using Tailwind versus Max Airstream, the Pokemon don't all benefit from those from the Max moves versus the actual setup move. But that was kind of a great comeback for Jonathan. Like in all honesty, I think he adjusted very well. That Mudsdale was kind of left alone until it needed to be. And I think Togekiss having Yawn is such a nice utility to have. It forces your opponent to make a decision of, do I want to switch out the Pokemon because it's going to be put to sleep, or do I want to keep it in and risk those sleep turns? And honestly, the tough part about this match is it could have gone an entirely different way had those moves hit for Hayley, right? You saw the Snorlax dodge the... it like dodged a couple rock slides, the Muddy Water just missed, but I still think that Gastrodon is the one that's going to help Hayley win this match, right? Gastrodon is kind of a thorn in everybody's side once you see it every now and then, because it just sits there and it's like, most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time you don't really run grass type moves on your Pokemon. So for the longest time, you know, Gastrodon is just a stickler, might not have sticky hold, but it sticks around a lot. And so I think now that Gastrodon is kind of seen as a threat, Jonathan's correctly identifying it as such. And so we'll see exactly how Game 3 works out here, because I think Grimmsnarl Mudsdale is still a good lead for Hayley. She might want to switch it up for Game 3, depending on what other mode she has for this team. But for Jonathan, I think he made a good choice with Rhyperior and, Snorlax and Togekiss, because, yep, and he thinks so too, because we are seeing that lead one more time from him. The lead that won him Game 2 is going to come back as Grimmsnarl and Mudsdale. We are 3 for 3 right now with that lead, which is actually not that bad, because again, Grimmsnarl has that advantage of having prankster screens, so you're able to get Reflect and Light Scream up from the get-go, and now you've got Mudsdale as well. And so I think now you're going to start thinking of, how do I stop the Snorlax from setting up? I think we're going to see another Follow Me Belly Drum, and we're going to see the Reflect and then I want to say Max Steel Spike, because I think right now the thing about Togekiss is you want to get rid of it, and you want to make sure that Togekiss is like just out there, because you don't want it to have to keep having that follow me. But instead, we're gonna see Bronzong out on the field. So interesting choice here. Might be trying to bait a knockout on Togekiss and a Trick Room setup, so you can bring back in like the Snorlax and the Rhyperior in the back. And it's still really sad that we'll probably never see Chandelure, but I understand why. I'm just going to put that out there. I enjoy Chandelure and I would love to see it. But Mudsdale is going to Dynamax, so we're 3 for 3 on Mudsdale Dynamaxing on turn 1. But again, that's actually a good choice because you get to have this stat boost as well. But Grimmsnarl goes for the swagger into its own Mudsdale. I think that was the Pokemon that... Hey, I just remember that apparently Own Tempo is a move here, as that is a plus, 6 on that, into that Mudsdale. Okay, so it is going to go to sleep in a couple turns, but the Berry might, it actually still helps out, but does significantly more damage than it did last time. The plus defense here for both Mudsdale and for Grimmsnarl is really nice. We might actually see the reflect this time now from Grimmsnarl to help out for later. Bronzong is most likely going to try to set up Trick Room on this turn, so I think if you're Hayley, you're going to try to go after it instead. But Togekiss is going to be like, nope, not that, not at all. We're going to set up, and we're going to have Follow Me, and we are actually going to see Reflect. So, I'm going to make sure that damage from physical attacks is going to be a little bit less here. Mudsdale will go to sleep after this turn, though, as Max Steel Spike is going to go into that Togekiss one more time. So it doesn't hurt to up your defenses just in case. So this is going to be +2 now to defense. And again, actually, that's not that bad because we do know that Grimmsnarl has Foul Play as one of its moves, which means that even if Snorlax or Rhyperior manage to get their attack up, Grimmsnarl can use that to their advantage. We're going to see Bronzong get up that Trick Room, so that is... if you look at Jonathan's team, that is the one strategy he has going for him, is he needs to set up Trick Room somehow. And I think using Bronzong and Togekiss in that capacity, where you use Togekiss to draw attention away and have Bronzong set up Trick Room, is also really nice there, as Snorlax is in a perfect spot to come in. Mudsdale is asleep. Bronzong can go for Ally Switch if it's like afraid of any sort of foul play. Snorlax can go just for the belly drum and like not have to worry. And then now if you're Hayley, you're playing sort of the Ally Switch mind games again. And Grimmsnarl, despite being able to set up things like the screens, the problem is that like it doesn't do as much attack if you don't have anything to attack, right? So Ally Switch and Belly Drum. So gonna make sure that Hayley's always on her toes about which slot to attack, which is gonna be the tough part about fighting things like Bronzong and Snorlax, as Snorlax chomps down on its berry thanks to that Gluttony ability and gets a little bit of health back. Mudsdale, this is its necessary sleep turn, and it is the last turn of Dynamaxing, so not able to go for... If she read... Oh my gosh, okay, I think that was definitely a good read there. She definitely saw that Ally Switch coming, was able to call that, and went straight for that foul play. Was a fantastic job by Hayley right there. Doesn't matter that horse was sleeping. Grimmsnarl was like, you know what? I can set up screens and I can come out to play and fight. And that was the perfect opportunity to show that off. The hard part about Ally Switch, again, is having that chance to go for, like, you go for Ally Switches, and it's always hard when you have something like mind games like that, right? And Hayley able to at least accurately guess that in this instance. Ally Switch is always one of those you sometimes second guess yourself, but Rhyperior here is gonna be Dynamax because Snorlax did not go for the Gigantamax, and we are gonna have so what we're gonna have happen is that Rhyperior is gonna be able to Dynamax. He's gonna get a boosted attack, and now we're gonna play mind games again with Foul Play and Ally Switch, right? And Mudsdale, if it wakes up, is going to be great here, as Diamond Ball is going to hit into that Rhyperior, activate the weakness policy. Has to be careful because Grimmsnarl is going to be able to go for a foul play as well still, so you do have to be careful. As we do see the Max Rock fall first, though, from Rhyperior after our Trick Room mode. Still, Grimmsnarl is gonna take that because of the fact that, one, we have the two Max Steel Spikes, so it's +2 defense, and the Reflect that was there. Mudsdale waking up on this turn, really good for her, and we've got the Rhyperior taking a lot of damage here, and we are gonna see Foul Play one more time now into that Rhyperior, and that is almost but not quite gonna be able to knock it out. But you've got, I think, one more turn now of Trick Room. Oh, sorry, 2 more turns of Trick Room. You can go. You're gonna have to choose now which one you're gonna attack because Grimmsnarl can go for another foul play, or you can have just Mudsdale go for another high horsepower, and you take the guess here. Actually, you can just go for a rock slide, in all honesty, because at least you'll hit both Pokemon. As long as you don't miss, this is going to be the rough part here, as Bronzong goes for an ally switch. If Hayley clicks rock slide here on that Mudsdale, that won't matter if it connects with that Rhyperior. We're going to see Max Quake instead here for Rhyperior instead of Max Rockfall, so it's going to connect with that Mudsdale. Does not do a lot of damage thanks to the fact that, again, that's +2 defense from the 2 Max Steel Spikes, and then the Reflect on top of that. The fact that Hayley's been able to take this entire match so far with just these 2 Pokemon is kind of crazy. Does not manage to make the call on this one. Superpower is going to get that Bronzong down to half health, but that Grimmsnarl is still free to go for foul play, and if you attack, yep, that's actually... hitting either one of those slots wouldn't have mattered because Hayley had a 1 in a 50-50 chance of hitting either one of those. So whichever one she hit, she would have hit something super effective, and Rhyperior goes down on this turn. And so Bronzong not really going to be able to do much in this situation because it's not really an attacking Pokemon. It's there to support its friends and set up trick rooms. And we do see Jonathan going for that forfeit on game 3, giving the round win to Hayley. But these two should be absolutely proud of themselves because that was an insane sort of match. Jonathan was able to turn around that game 2, and Hayley, game 3, did a very good job. She set up what she needed to. That call on ally switch was probably the one that won her the game because being able to knock out the Snorlax after it set up belly drum, and then able to at least hit both able to hit both Rhyperior and Bronzong with moves to make sure you got some sort of damage. Really good job for her. So that was round 3. We are going to go into round 4 sometime soon-ish. 4 out of 7, guys. Sorry, it has been a rough counting day for me, but I will see you guys in a little bit, so don't go anywhere.